Hello, beautiful people. The lady in the picture, Nobel Prize laureate Malala Yousafzai, needs no introduction. And see what impactful thought she has given. She says, extremists have shown what frightens them most, a girl with a book. Malala says, extremism is actually based on a very weak foundation of narrow and unaccommodative views. And the moment that foundation is questioned, it scares and starts losing its ground. Guys, please remember this quote for your social issues paper 1, social justice paper 2, and extremism related issues paper number 3. Now let's begin with today's editorial discussion. Guys, today 30th of the March, these are the list of editorials that we will be discussing. Guys, a lot of articles on COVID-19 are coming, and we had also discussed a lot of articles on those lines. I will just suggest that please don't go too much deeper. Guys, this editorial has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and here we will discuss about the recent postponement of census data collection exercise. Guys, India has a very long history with respect to publication of census. First census in India was launched in 1872 by Britishers. However, it was non-synchronized census, and the first synchronized census was conducted in 1881. And now in independent India, the census is conducted under Census Act 1948, and Office of Registrar General under Home Ministry and Census Commissioner are entrusted with the responsibility of conducting census in India. The last census was conducted in 2011, and the next census is being prepared for the year 2021. Guys, the suspension recently the decision has been taken where it has been decided that the data collection exercise for 2021 census is being suspended due to the intensity of coronavirus. Now guys, something more about the census. The census is usually collected in two phases. In first phase, it is called as house listing, and the second phase is called as population enumeration. In the stage of house listing, the buildings are surveyed and their status is ascertained with respect to their condition, with respect to their ownership, with respect to their usage, etc. Now, with respect to census, a questionnaire is followed, and with on the basis of this answer, the detail is finalized. So, with respect to first phase, that is house listing, 35 questions are asked, and with respect to population enumeration, 30 questions are asked. So population enumeration is actually the counting of people, their occupation, their literacy, their age, their sex, all these things are into population enumeration. Guys, one more thing, along with the census, this year it has been decided that along with census one more exercise will be conducted, that is national population register. And under national population register, some more data will be collected. Now first of all, what is this NPR? NPR is mandated under Citizenship Act 1955 and Citizenship Rules 2003. So guys, is this the first time when NPR is being conducted? No. The first time NPR was prepared in 2010, and then it was updated in 2015. So as in census we ask a certain questions, in NPR also 9 questions are mandated to be asked from the citizens. Guys, now it is being considered that NPR is nothing but a kind of a follow up for NRC. But government has recently made this very clear that NRC is not linked with NPR. But there was again one more objection, that government had added some extra question in this NPR, and through this extra question government might be getting information on whose basis NRC will be prepared. But government had again made this thing very clear that it is upon the individuals whether they want to answer these extra questions or not. Now exactly what is this NPR? So NPR is nothing but a database of all the citizens who are living into the country. So wherever a person has resided for 6 months or will be residing for next 6 months have to give his demographic information to the government, and that demographic information, it will be stored into the NPR database. It will ask questions such as name of a person, father's name, mother's name, sex, date of birth, marital status, and other such related information in the format of 9 questions. Moreover, guys, one more thing. The NPR will not be prepared for the state of Assam as recently NRC has been prepared. So therefore, NPR will be for entire country except Assam. Now, one more issue comes that exactly what is the difference between NPR and Census of India. So, friends, first of all, NPR is just a kind of a demographic register or a demographic database, whereas census is much more elaborate than NPR. Census contains much more socio-economic data as well, whereas NPR collects only demographic data. It collects data such as infant mortality rate, MMR, child sex ratio, agricultural land holdings, education, literacy rate, etc. Whereas they are not mandated under NPR. Moreover, guys, census has a much longer history. NPR is a recent exercise. Census is done under Census Act 1948. NPR is done under Citizenship Act 1955 and Citizenship Rules 2003. Moreover, friends, there are certain more information about census which could be important. First of all, this census will be the first census where data will be collected and stored in electronic form. Citizens can submit their census related data on the medium of a mobile application as well. And again, this will be the first census which will be containing a third category with respect to gender, that is others. Moreover, recent there was a proposal that census with respect to caste should also include the category of other backward classes. However, Registrar General of India has refused to have the category of OBCs because there is no uniformity with respect to the caste who are actually OBCs. So there will be only three categories, that is general, SCs, and ST. Now, guys, census data collection has been postponed because right now country is going under the crisis of COVID-19 and huge resources are needed for the data collection exercise. But right now, those funds have to be diverted for the mitigation efforts. Moreover, the editorial provides that it is actually an opportunity to weed out the differences that are there between the center as well as states. A lot of states are unhappy with the recent amendment of Citizenship Act and they had shown their displeasure with respect to Citizenship Act 2019 as well as on the issue of NPR. So the article suggests that during this time center as well as state can involve into a dialogue and can iron out the problems and differences with respect to all this particular exercise. Therefore, postponement is a welcome exercise as it will save the resources to mitigate the COVID-19 crisis and at the same time will provide enough time to resolve into a constructive dialogue. So guys, this was all about this particular article and now we will move to the next article. Guys, this article has been taken from the Hindu and it explores how global cooperation should be explored to evade the pandemic of COVID-19, and this article will be relevant to all the pandemics and disasters of international concern. With more than 6 lakh cases, coronavirus is emerging to be invisible yet invincible, that is very strong and resilient. Moreover, governments across the world are responding to COVID-19, but guys, there are still some fault lines and gaps into the response towards COVID-19. Guys, this thing could be gauged from certain facts. For example, it has been accused that China had delayed the reporting of coronavirus to WHO, due to which adequate responses and measures were not taken, and it has emerged to be such a big concern. Secondly, USA's response has also been flawed, due to which USA is now seeing the largest number of cases into the world. Initially, USA responded with a kind of an optimism and did not give much importance. However, later US had performed a knee-jerk reaction where the flights were cancelled to Europe without even informing the European Union about this particular thing. However, with respect to India, certain notable initiatives have been taken by Indian leadership. For example, well ahead of the time, SARC meet was convened where a co-creation of COVID fund was announced which will bring much relief to the South Asian infected countries. Secondly, a virtual meet of G20 had taken place recently where it has been decided that $5 trillion will be injected in economy to boost up the aggregate demand and to boost up the economic mobility. However, still much more is needed to do away with the paralysis that will be brought by the Corona 19. Guys, meanwhile, on their own behalf, countries are observing measures such as social distancing. But it has its own limitations in South Asian countries, particularly India, because it has been seen that owing to such huge population density, people are not able to observe the social distancing norms. Moreover, due to lockdown, there is huge migrant exodus which is going into a lot of states, which is also defeating the target of social distancing. Guys, secondly, countries around the world have declared a lockdown, but the lockdown have their own implications and they have their own cost. Guys, it can lead to an economic slowdown and even an economic recession. Moreover, travels ban have also been imposed, but seeing the globalization that world has faced, they will be bringing further more miseries on economic fronts. Guys, there is only one respite for India and for the world countries, that is herd immunity. It means that in the long term, people develop a kind of a self immunity with respect to a particular infection and the occurrence of virus or the infection becomes less rampant. So guys, herd immunity or immunity of entire community can be developed by two ways, either through vaccination or if the people who have get infected they get recovered. So in both of the cases antibodies are developed in the body. Since vaccination has not been developed, India will develop herd immunity only when a substantial population will get infected, and with reference to India, the number goes around 700 million people getting infected. So guys, right now a war room approach is needed to meet the pandemic of COVID-19. However, this particular thing becomes even more problematic because of seeds of indifference which are going into the world stage. Guys, on one side there is profusion of right wing nationalism under which countries happen to give more preference to their domestic interest rather than to global concerns. Its example can be seen from the fact as USA had withdrawn from the Paris Climate Change Accord owing to the factors that it is not suiting the American conditions. So guys, under this particular thing, a collective action might be coming very hard. Secondly, on other front, we had seen a limited success of multilateral institutions under UN, particularly WHO, and it has been seen that WHO has not been able to live up to its expectation. This thing could be seen that there were huge fatalities. Firstly, there was a SARS, then there was H1N1 swine flu, then there was MERS, after that there was Ebola, and after Ebola there was Zika virus. So many epidemics have emerged particularly only into the 21st century, which shows the limited success of WHO. Therefore, at this time we need a lean, responsive and ever active framework. The article suggests that G20 could be used as a platform to facilitate international cooperation. Now, what are the areas where G20 should focus? First of all, adequate supplies of essential protective gears should be ensured, such as gloves, glasses, protective PPE suits, etc. should be made sure. Now, guys, here Japan and South Korea have been outperformers which have controlled the pandemic of COVID-19 by ramping up the supplies of protective gears. So these countries could be asked to assist the other nations. Moreover, a global information exchange portal should be established with respect to production and distribution capabilities of different countries. Because guys, right now what is required is unity and cooperation and not isolated efforts. Secondly, efforts should be made to restore the supply chain. On both international as well as domestic front, it has been seen that the movement of goods have stopped. So this thing should be considered in mind, that the movement of essential goods should not face any restriction on national as well as international front. Further, editorial calls that even the tariff and non-tariff barriers should be removed, because it will facilitate the seamless movement of essential goods and commodities, which is very much needed in this time. After that, there should be an immediate mechanism to share the clinical information. See, WHO had started a solidarity mission under which four drugs have been identified which could provide a possible cure for coronavirus. Therefore, on this front, all the successes and failures should be shared between the countries. Guys, after that, all the countries should collaborate on the development of medicines, and even into the domestic fronts there should be interstate collaborations, and even the private sector should be given incentive to develop medicine. However, at the same time, we should need to keep in our mind that the cost of drugs should not escalate beyond a particular point, even if private sector is being dropped. Guys, moreover, it has been seen that we need a army of medical soldiers. So therefore, adequate attention should be given to facilitate seamless movement of a health professional across the countries as well as domestic boundaries. Moreover, at the same time, their health should be given highest priority and concern. Moreover, guys, as the pandemic will take its course, we know a particular fact that there could be certain countries which may have food shortages. So these food shortages should be anticipated well in advance, so that subdevelopment countries might not face the problem of hunger and malnutrition, because then it will pose its own problem. Guys, moreover, as COVID 19's pandemic will come to a halt, all the countries need to brainstorm as how global economy needs to be reconstructed, which has faced a kind of derailment. So we need to focus on renegotiation of consultations, bilateral trade should be promoted, multilateral trade should be promoted, and innovative measures are needed as how economy could be put back onto their tracks. So guys, this was all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Guys, these editorials have been taken from the Indian Express. Here we are clubbing three editorials, as all of them are talking about a single concept, that is, what will be the implications of COVID 19 and what should be the government's reform package in order to contain the damage. Now, as pandemic of COVID 19 is proceeding, certain issues are creeping out of lockdown. First is mass exodus of migrant workers. Due to sudden declaration of lockdown, a lot of people have been stranded in the cities where they work, and they are now not being in a position to find employment, so they are migrating back their home. Now, it apart from inflicting human miseries, it also poses a bigger challenge, that even if couple of people are infected with coronavirus, then the pathogen could reach even to the rural areas of India, where it is not have been reached till now, and in that condition the crisis will even worsen, because the public health infrastructure into these states is particularly very vulnerable. Majority of workers belongs to three states, that is UP, Bihar, and the other is Jharkhand, and it is very much evident as how fragile is their health system. Second problem that is being encountered during this crisis is the disruption in supply chain management. Now, this thing has been made very much evident that essential services are exempted from the lockdown and from disruption. But police and civic administration are still harassing the people who are involved into the provisioning of essential services. Moreover, at the same time, when we had given the exemption to these people, we are forgetting that these people are also vulnerable to disease as other people are vulnerable. So government should also take adequate steps to protect these people. Now, the next problem is that there are various services and commodities which have been kept out of essential services, and due to these, many important items are not reaching to the people, due to which conflicts are arising. For example, sanitary pads are not the part of essential items, which could lead to hygiene problems into females. Guys, moreover, even the things which have been included, the directives are not very clear and very smooth. So often there happens to be a conflict between to the citizens and the police, and the transition actually is becoming very much painful. After that, at next, there are problems with the livestock sector and poultries. Now, they are not like the general establishment. Now, poultry and cattle, they need regular feed, and particularly cattle need to be milked. Otherwise, there will be other health complications into these animals. But right now, as the supply chain is broken, there is no demand for milk and poultry products. Therefore, farmers and animal husbandry breeders, they are facing a problem as how they can keep their enterprises sustain, which might be leading to another set of problems into the times to come. After that, there is a problem of testing. Now, India is following the Italian model where people are being asked to to stay in isolation and social distancing. We are not adequately testing enough number of people, due to which there could be complication into the times to come. Here the article suggests that we should adopt the South Korean model where more and more tests are being conducted, so that in well time we can know the scale of epidemic. Moreover, in India, coincidentally, the states which have done more tests, I have seen the highest number of COVID-19 patients, whereas other states which have conducted very less tests, they have not seen any considerable spike in patients. For example, Jharkhand had reported zero cases in coronavirus, but the things could be something be more. The less number of cases could partly be attributed to less number of testing. So these are all the problems which are being attributed to the COVID-19. Now guys, what could be the solutions in this particular respect? And editorial provides plenty of them. First of all, editorial provides First of all, precaution and adequate protection gears should be given to the people who are involved into supply chain. For example, they should be given gloves, they should be given PPE suits and glasses. After that, awareness should be raised among the people regarding the symptoms and the urgency of a self isolation. Many times it has been seen that people are deliberately hiding their symptoms due to fear of harassment. After that, welfare package needs to be expanded very liberally. Just 2 days back, government has announced a 1.7 lakh crore relief package. However, given the quantum of crisis, we need to enhance it up to 5 to 6 lakh crore as suggested by the editorial. Moreover, from various quarters, an appeal has been made that as a part of a relief package, universal payments should be made to the people who are not being covered into the existing package. And there should be provision of cooked foods and enhanced food allocations into relief package. Moreover, government can cut the expenditure on subsidies which are not essential right now, and from there the money could be diverted for the developmental funds. Guys, moreover, government should approach the corporate leaders from whom monetary help could be asked for. Moreover, it has been seen that as self isolation has been proclaimed, we need to make a system with respect to delivery of goods and services as it has been done by the China. But in this respect, government lacks a lot of resources. So it has been suggested that NGOs, resident welfare associations, religious organization, all of them should be enrobed with respect to delivery of essential goods and services. Moreover, in order to facilitate social distancing, government had decided to suspend weekly markets, which will impact a lot of essential goods. Therefore, perishable goods items should be packaged in protective layers, and there should be mobile e-vans which should deliver these goods to people's houses. And guys, with respect to delivery, we can also take help of the e-commerce players as they have enough of expertise in this particular aspect. Moreover, there is only one silver lining here in this respect, that is government has enough number of food grains thanks to a more than buffer reserve with FCI. Guys, however, government is now even procuring the rabi crops as the season is around. So at this particular juncture, government needs to make sure that the FCI workers and inspectors should be provided with adequate protection gears so that food and people do not infect the coronavirus. Moreover, it has been suggested that APMC Act should be suspended right now. Now, under APMC Act, an obligation is put on the farmer that farmer can sell his produce into his designated mandi only. Now, at this particular time, the APMC mandis can exploit the farmers and might give them less remuneration, so that a kind of a flexibility should be adopted here. Moreover, NGOs, civil societies, corporate houses, they should be given a permission to procure directly from the farmers, as a better price discovery could take place due to this thing. Moreover, as we had discussed earlier, that the farmers in poultry sector as well as into cattle industry are facing a decline in their demand. So government should make a mechanism to compensate these farmers and people involved into this enterprises. After that, an action plan for agriculture and livestock management should be released as earlier as it is possible. Now, after that, we had seen that the supply chain has primarily broken because of weak communication and confusion. Therefore, central government should issue a very clear and unambiguous notification with respect to free movement of essential services. And lastly, in order to stop the harassment of people involved in essential services, special passes should be issued to people who are involved into these services. Here we could see the example of Delhi government. Now, even after the lockdown will be over, the problem will still be there. So therefore, even after the lockdown, the article suggests certain measures. First of all, APMC laws should be suspended for next 6 months, and farmers should be given a flexibility to sell their produce in any market, in any mandi, or to any person, as it will give them a better price delivery. Next, there is an act, that is Essential Services Maintenance Act. This act has been passed in 1968 by Government of India under the concurrent list given under schedule number 7. So essential services is a concurrent subject. Both center as well as state can make law on it. So the ESMA Act provides that government can provide certain services as essential services and their movement cannot be crippled. So for the next 6 months, ESMA should apply to all the utilities of transportation, so that economy as well as supply chain can again be put back on their wheels. Moreover, the scope of ESMA should also be expanded, and it should include all the food items, agricultural imports, packaging materials, transport services, and as I have told earlier, for 6 months ESMA should be extended. So guys, this was all about today's article. If you liked the video, then please do subscribe and share our video. Thank you so much.